Hello children, welcome to yet another session of Geography Class 10, Natural Vegetation Session 4. So before we begin, let us have a quick recap what we have studied in our previous session. So in our previous session we were discussing about the forest cover in India, and we found that at least it has been discussed the world over that every country should have at least 33% of their land area under forest cover. But India has only 21% of the total land under forest cover. So that has to be met. And we had also learned that though India has 16% of the world's population, it has only 2% of the world's forest. Now, what were the causes for this forest decline in the forest cover? So, we had learned that the increase in population. So, the more the population, more is the need for the clear spaces. The forests are being cut down to bring more land under crop. Then overgrazing by animals was another problem that was causing the decline in the forest cover. Demand for industrial timber, new townships, new highways, new industries, all these were causing a decline in the forest cover. Now, about the advantages of the forest. Now, forests are they are very important in our lives, but there are some direct advantages that we are getting from forests, like we are getting the valuable timber for our industrial and domestic use. We are getting products like gum, resin, herbs, honey, spices. They are providing us employment to millions of people in lumbering, sawing and furniture making. Apart from that, export of forest products is bringing foreign exchange. It's providing grazing ground for many animals, and it is home to many wildlife and also a tourist attraction. Now, apart from these, there are many indirect advantages that we are getting from these forests. That is, firstly, they are modifying the climate of a place. They are increasing humidity and which is helping in causing rainfall. It is absorbing the carbon dioxide and controlling air pollution. It is increasing oxygen level and it is helping in giving us oxygen. Then the roots of the trees are binding the soil and it is preventing soil erosion. Then maintaining underground water table. Apart from that, it increasing the soil fertility, and the decay of the dead plants and leaves, they are providing humus and thus increasing soil fertility. Now, when the forests are of so much importance, then how can we conserve the forest? The forest cover is declining, we know. So we need to conserve the forest, and for that we need to bring more and more land under forest cover. Stop the felling of the trees. There should be stringent laws made to stop and check deforestation. Using alternative sources of energy and not depend on firewood. So these are some of the ways in which we can conserve the forest. Apart from that, we learnt about the National Forest Policy, and it was first adopted in the year 1952. It was modified in the year 1988, and again it is revised. A draft has been made in your book, children, on page 123. Draft National Forest Policy 2018 is given. You can learn almost the same objectives of the policy. You can learn some of these objectives here. Okay. We had also learned that what was social forestry. So it was the management and protection of forests. By this, through social forestry, we were planting trees on barren lands to help environment, social, rural development. It is for the community development. It consists of reforestation, joint management of the forest, and its production processes. So, and the major objectives of the social forestry that we had learned, that it was to provide fuel wood, fodder for cattle, develop local cottage industries, better methods to conserve soil, increase agricultural products, and provide employment to village people. Now, features of the social forestry that we had learned was raising the plantation by local people, taking pressure of the forests by using unused and fallow land. Now, we had also studied the agroforestry. Agroforestry is a part of social forestry, children please remember, and in this farmers grow crops, rear animals, grow fodder and grow trees for fuel. So agriculture and forestry together is making agroforestry. Okay, children, so let's start with today's session. And in today's session, we'll do the question answers at the back at the end of the chapter, page 125. Let us quickly do the question answers, and in the meantime, please write the answers in the book itself, and a selected few, that is 20 questions, to be written in your fair registers. What is meant by natural vegetation? And we can turn over to page 116. The first paragraph, grasses, the last 3 lines. Grasses, shrubs and trees which grow on their own without any human interference constitute the natural vegetation of an area. Is that clear? Next question, children. Give 2 points of difference between vegetation and forests. Now, vegetation, the third paragraph, the same page. Vegetation, on the other hand, vegetation refers to the assemblage of plant species living in association with each other in a given environmental setup. Then, the major types of the world, second point, is the major types of the world are groups as forests, grasslands, scrubs and tundra. On the other hand, forest refers to a large tract of land covered with trees and accompanying undergrowth of shrubs, herbs, and sustaining thousands of life. Second point, in legal terminology, a forest is any land with its vegetative cover that has been so declared under a legal provision. So these 2 examples have to be written because they are asking for 2 points of difference between vegetation and forests. Third, C, name an area where tropical rainforests are found. So tropical rainforests, which are also the evergreen forests, they are found on the western slopes of the Western Ghats. Mention 2 main characteristics of the tropical rainforests. So tropical rainforests, we have studied that they are very tall trees. They are over 60 meters in height, and they are evergreen. That is, they do not have a fixed period in which they shed their leaves. Next, D, give a geographical reason for each of the following. The Western Ghats are covered with thick evergreen forests, while the Eastern Ghats are covered with deciduous forests. Now, the Western Ghats are covered with thick evergreen forests because they are receiving more than 200 centimeters of rainfall, as they lie in the windward side of this is the windward side of the Western Ghats. The Eastern Ghats are the leeward side and receive less rainfall, between 100 to 200 centimeters, and as such they are covered by deciduous forests. Next question. Second part, D. Tropical evergreen forests have tall trees and appear green all the year round. They have tall trees because of the heavy rainfall. They have the evergreen forests which have tall trees, and they appear green all the year round because these trees do not have a fixed period of shedding their leaves. As such, they appear green all the year round. Third question. Deciduous forests are commercially most exploited. Now, deciduous forests are commercially most exploited because they are less dense, and the same type of trees or species may be found in a large area. So, same trees can be found in the same area and a large area. As such, these forests are commercially most exploited. Okay, question number 2. A. Give 2 points of differences between the tropical evergreen and the tropical deciduous. So 2 points of difference has been asked. Firstly, they are evergreen, tropical evergreen as the name suggests. They are evergreen trees. They do not have a fixed period of shedding their leaves, whereas the tropical deciduous forests, they shed their leaves. They have a fixed period of shedding their leaves. So, as such, this is the first difference between the two. Secondly, the evergreen forests, they are very dense, dark and dense, and they are commercially not very important. Whereas the tropical deciduous forests, they are not very dense. As such, they are commercially very important. The trees of the tropical deciduous forests are commercially important. Next question, children. Question number 2B. What are the climatic conditions under the tropical evergreen forests develop? What are the climatic conditions under which the tropical evergreen forests develop? And the tropical evergreen forests, they develop under the following climatic conditions. They occur in areas where the rainfall is more than 200 centimeters and temperature between 25 to 27 degrees Celsius. Is that clear? Okay. Next question is, we were there in what are the climatic conditions? Okay. See first, what are the characteristic features of the deciduous forests? Now, the characteristic features of the deciduous forests, we know that these forests, they shed their leaves to prevent excessive loss of moisture. So, they have a fixed period of shedding their leaves. Apart from that, there are fewer varieties found in this forest, and the forests are not very dense. Is that clear? So, this is few of the characteristics of the deciduous forest. Name any 2 types of deciduous forest. Now, 2 types of deciduous forest are the moist deciduous forest and the dry deciduous forest. Question number 2D, give a geographical reason for each of the following. Tropical evergreen forests are difficult to exploit for commercial purpose. Now, they are difficult to exploit for commercial purpose as these forests, number of species, as they are very dense and a number of species are growing from one place. So, it is very difficult to exploit. You cannot find the same species in the forest around. So, very difficult for commercial purpose. Is that clear? So, what will you write for this? Tropical evergreen forest. Why is it difficult? It is dark and dense, very difficult to enter these forests. Secondly, number of varieties grow in one area. As such, the same variety cannot be found in the entire place. So, it's difficult to exploit for commercial purpose. Next, D2. Delta area of river Ganga are called Sundarbans because in the delta area of the river Ganga, the Sundari trees grow. As such, the name Sundarbans have been given. Third one, forests are grown in and around the cities having iron and steel industries and thermal power plants. Now, forests are grown in and around the cities having iron and steel. Now, both these industries, whether it is iron and steel industry or the thermal power plants, they give out a lot of pollution. And to purify the air, we need to grow forests around the iron and steel and thermal power plants. It purifies the air. It will absorb the carbon dioxide and other gases. It will absorb and give fresh oxygen and thus purify the air. Okay. Next we come to question number 3 and mention the areas where the tropical desert vegetation thrives. So which are the areas where it is thriving best? So it is found in southwest Punjab, Haryana, western Uttar Pradesh, eastern Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat. So please note down these areas, children, where the tropical tropical desert vegetation thrives. Okay, question number 3, B part. Under what climatic conditions do littoral forests develop? Okay, so what climatic conditions do littoral forests develop? Children, page 119. Climatic under littoral forest climatic conditions. So you will write that these forests are found in wet marshy areas, in river deltas, in tidal or other swampy areas and along the sea coasts. So for this the question you will give this answer only. Okay, next question, state 2 characteristic features of the tropical desert vegetation and name 2 typical trees found here. Okay, now the characteristics of the tropical desert vegetation is that the trees are stunted. Trees have long roots which go deep down in search of water. And one more is that you can say that they have thick fleshy stem to store water, and in other cases you can also write that the leaves are turned into spines to reduce excessive transpiration. Is that clear? Okay. Now they are asking for the 2 typical trees found in this region. In that you can write about babool and bear is found in these regions. Okay. Next we come to C part 2. Why tropical deserts have stunted trees? Now tropical desert, they have stunted trees because of the lack of water. Here in these desert areas, the rainfall is very less than 50 centimeters of rainfall. And because of the lack of water, what happened? The trees have stunted growth. Okay, D part, give a geographical reason for each of the following. The forest area has greatly depleted in India. Now, why has the forest area greatly depleted in India? We have just discussed that the increase in population, then overgrazing by animals, demand for industrial timbers, new townships, new highways, new industries, all these reasons have led to the depletion of forest in India. Then D2, the tropical evergreen forests are found in the western slopes of the Western Ghats. This question is repeated. This is because the western slopes of the Western Ghats are the windward sides of the this is also the windward side of the Western Ghats, which is receiving more than 250 centimeters of rainfall. And as such, tropical evergreen forests are found. Okay. Next, D3, acacia has long roots. Now they have long roots so that it goes deep into the soil in search of water. Now we come to question number 4. What are tidal forests? Now tidal forests, again, tidal forests are forests that grow in the deltas of Ganga, Brahmaputra, Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri. These are the largest of these forests are called the Sundarbans, which are found in the Ganga Brahmaputra delta. And these types of trees are mostly grow in the tidal creeks, salt marshes and estuaries. Now name two typical trees which are found in the tidal forest. You can write Sundari, you can write Keora, Amur or Agar. Okay, name the type of forest found in the western part of the Western Ghats. This is already mentioned earlier, that is the tropical evergreen forest. Give two reasons why these forests are so named. That is evergreen forest. Why are they called evergreen forest? They are called evergreen forests because they remain green throughout the year. They do not have any fixed period of shedding their leaves. That is why they are called evergreen forests. Okay, question number 4C. Describe the method of protecting forests under the following heads. Afforestation. Now the method of protecting forests under this head, and that is afforestation. So afforestation, you can write about the social forestry, where we are doing afforestation. We are planting trees in areas which are barren lands, and so this is the way we are protecting forests under the following heads. Using alternative sources of energy. Method of protecting forest, alternative sources of energy and protecting the forest. So in this social forestry, alternative sources of energy, we are using in describe the methods of protecting forests under the following heads. Afforestation. In afforestation, you will write that afforestation means planting trees on land which are not previously covered with forest vegetation. Is that clear? Okay, next one is using alternative sources of energy, and for which you will be writing that instead of felling down the trees for firewood, we must use non-conventional or renewable sources of energy like the solar energy, tidal energy, hydel energy, etc. Okay, next question. Give a geographical reason for each of the following. Forests constitute an important natural resource. Yes, forests constitute an important natural resource because there are many advantages of forests. A few examples, such as it helps in modifying the climate of the place, it increases humidity, it helps in causing rainfall, it purifies the air, the roots bind the soil and prevent soil erosion. Then it maintains the underground water table, it increases the soil fertility, the decay of dead plants, leaves and provide humus. So for all these reasons, forests are important natural resource. Then next reasoning question, agroforestry is not vulnerable to population stress, and for that we come to page 124, right hand side. So it is said that agroforestry is not vulnerable to population stresses, as it is created in accordance with the socio-cultural practices of the population. In fact, agroforestry coordinates with the local population and reduces the pressure of population on traditional forestry. Now, third question. Tidal forests have profuse growth with tangle of climbers. Now, tidal forests have profuse growth with a tangle. We come to page number 120, and they have profuse growth. It's the third characteristic feature, children. They have profuse growth with tangle of climbers because which is an adaptation for the survival in the soft and shifting mud. So it is so because it is an adaptation for the survival in soft and shifting muds. Okay. Now children, we end here today's session, and in the next session we can revise, or we can just discuss the other questions in your book. Is that clear? Okay, till then, stay safe and stay at home. Thank you.